Hey guys, this is David from Zapier here. You know what's really annoying about owning a business? When you don't give your customers a chance to give them feedback, they do this. So in this video, I'll show you exactly how I keep those trollish, negative reviews away and skyrocket your 5-star Google reviews. You know what they say? When life gives you lemons, use them to make lemonade. We are going to squeeze every good reviews out of your customer base. Alright guys, we're on our computer right now. So to make this work, we need 3 types of tools. The first one that we need is something to send emails from. So that could be MailChimp, it could be Drip. There are plenty of platforms that can send emails that you can use to send emails from. For us, what we're currently using is we're using Drip, and I'll show it to you in a second. Another form of software that we need is some kind of a form software, whether that's Google Forms, Typeforms, just anything that can capture customer feedback. Third type of software is called Zapier, and Zapier is just a way for me to connect other third-party tools together. With those 3, it's more than enough to do something pretty amazing. I'll show it to you now. All right, guys. The first thing that we'll do is we need to create everything that we need so then we can start building on the automations. And the first thing that you need is an email. Now the email is really simple. There's really 4 components to the email. The first thing is the subject line. I've had the best experience when it comes to asking and prompting for a no instead of asking for something. Asking for something will be, can we please have, we'll love your feedback, or can I have your feedback, so on and so forth. I have had the best experience when it comes to prompting for a no instead of a yes. So I have learned that from Never Split the Difference. Help yourself, the link is in the description below. And this subject line was tested multiple times and it has ended up to be one of our best subject lines, which is it too absurd to ask for a review? Take it if you want, but this has worked really well for us. Now, the next thing is actually the headline and not the logo, even though the logo is massive and I'm going to blur it out because it is a client's email. For me, the friendlier the headline, the more you make it about them, which is your customers, the better. So we did exactly that and we asked, how do we go? And what I was trying to do here is really mimic the restaurant experience, which is, if you remember after the meal, they usually ask you, hey, how was our food? How did we go? What we could have done better? It's usually a how did we go type scenario. So that has worked really well for us. And, you know, we still need to do more testing, but this has been one of the probably better headlines for our customer review emails. And I'm really thankful for that. Now, the body of the email content. The copy itself is really simple. If they are your first time customers, make sure you take the time to thank them. It's a small gesture, but hey, it's still a very nice thing to do. So I'm sure you guys are already doing it. There's no need to talk too much about it. The next thing is the second line right here is really, all I'm trying to do here is just trying to make it as much about them as possible. So we wanted to improve on our experience so you can have a good time shopping. So it's all about them. Make it about them. So have right copy that would basically feel like they're really special to you, and you should make them feel that way, right? Now the last component of the email is the thumbs ups and the thumbs down. The reason why I've made it look so big is because on mobile before was actually really small. I had them smaller and I found that at this size it actually looks really good on mobile. The reason why I keep talking about mobile is majority of the emails, as you know, are actually consumed on mobile and not on desktop. There are times people do consume on desktop, but less and less likely these days. So for me, I've designed it for mobile and it's really simple. I don't want to add colors to it. I don't want to do anything to it. I just want to keep it really simple. And if they had a good time, I want to bring them straight to the Google Writer review section. If they had a bad time, I want to make sure that I bring them to a form, which is a Google form or Typeform. So I make sure that, hey, the reviews don't go anywhere near Google reviews. Now, this might sound sketchy, but the truth is we're in the age of internet and reviews are often nowadays trollish, they're over exaggerated. Most of the time, they're just not very constructive. So you want to make sure that those reviews don't end up in Google. Now, can you 100% prevent all the negative reviews? Probably not. But this essentially gives you a really good chance to reconnect with your customers. Because if they were angry enough to express their concerns, then you need to take the extra step to make sure that you can address this and this doesn't happen in the future. Especially the same issue happening over and over and over again. Now, there's a little trick when it comes to Google reviews, right? So let's just say I own Deck Cafe, right? Let's say I own Deck Cafe and I want to use the emails to prompt people to write reviews. If we bring them to this URL right here, there are too many options, they are too overwhelmed, they don't know what to do, and they will bounce. So you need to make sure that, hey, instead of bringing them to this section right here of Google, you want to go to the right hand side, there's write a review section. If you click on that button, it will tailor the URL to this window right here. So that's the URL that you want to use if they had a really, really good experience. Hopefully that should be really, really straightforward. But I just wanted to let you guys know that you need Google My Business for this to show up. And I'm assuming most of you have that already. If you don't, I might create a video in the future. But please let me know that if you'd like another video on how to create Google My Business. For the other thumbs down, we actually linked to a Typeform that we created specifically for that. And I am going to show that to you now. Hey guys, so after we're done the emails, we are at the forms, right? You can use Typeform, you can use Google Form, you can use any other form to just have a place where you can allow your customers to express their negative or even constructive feedback. And then this actually gives you a chance to collate all the feedback in a single place. And your customer service team should really think about taking action on some of those as well. So the form itself is super simple. First name, email address, how can we do better next time? And basically a thank you message for the feedback. This form, as soon as they have submitted the feedback, I have actually created a workflow to message our customer experience team to let them know that like, hey, someone has said, someone has given us some kind of a negative feedback, or whether that's constructive or not, I personally would like the customer experience team to at least take a look at it. If it's constructive, then we can take action and email the customer or even call them to say, hey, we're so sorry this happened. This is what we can do to prevent this from happening next time. When you can do that, the customers really, really would acknowledge the effort that you put in. Even if they don't have anything constructive to say, one, you prevented that negative feedback to go on Google, which is, again, borderline impossible to take out. And two, you've given them a place to express their anger. You want to give them that opportunity to do so. If you don't do it, it's going to be a really angry Google reviews. Okay, that's forms. Now that you finish creating your form, get the URL of the form and make sure you put it into the thumbs down button of the email, just so that if they did have a negative experience, there's a way for them to go to that form and express their constructive or trollish experience. Give them a chance to express their anger. And if it's constructive, please make sure that you have your customer experience team on standby to take action, right? That gives you a ginormous opportunity to build a relationship with your customer over the long term, and they'll pay you back for that. Hey guys, so what we'll do instead is I wanted to show you on the whiteboard in terms of what the email workflow looks like, so it's a little easier to understand. First step is you trigger the workflow based on a purchase or whatever event that you do. And the first question that I usually like to program in the workflow is, have they received any review emails in the past? If they have, we just want them to exit the workflow because we don't want to ask them second, third time whether they have gotten reviews. Maybe we'll cover that a little later in the future, but for the purpose of what we're doing today, we're not going to cover that. So if they have received emails in the past, they exit. If they haven't, we wait 7 days. Now, if you're wondering where is the 7 days coming from, usually the businesses that we work with deliver the product within 2 to 3 days. And then I just like to add 2 to 3 days on top of that, just so that give them a bit of room to interact with the product. So then that gives us a chance to actually ask for proper reviews rather than sending the email too early and there's nothing to review, right? So after we wait 7 days, we'll send them the first email and that's fine. This part is optional. Up to you, but we like to do it. And for some businesses, they don't have a lot of resources to invest in content. So the email 1 and the email 2 are exactly same content. If they have opened the email, I just don't want to I don't want to bombard them because we're a little lazy here. We're using an exact same email. If you have different content, different emails, you can continue to send them. But for the purpose of this exercise, the email content is exactly the same. And after we send them the first email, we ask the question inside the software, did they open the email? So if they have opened the email, we just want to exit. We don't want to send them the same email again. If they haven't received an email, then it gives us a chance to send them email number 2. But we don't want to send it the next day. We like to wait between 2 to 3 days before we send the last one. And this is the final section of the workflow. So this is essentially your review emails. Pretty simple. It should be pretty easy to do. Now that you have your email content, you have your form, you have your automation, you're all ready to go. The last step that I personally think you need is to let your customer experience team know, any customer service team at all, any service member. You just want them to take a look at the feedback itself. If it's constructive and if there are anything that you can do to help them out or even address the issue, you should take action immediately. This is not just about preventing negative feedback to go on Google. It's actually also giving you an opportunity to build your relationship with the customer. And this is a chance for you to iterate on your product or service. So I personally put a lot of emphasis in this workflow right here because the connection between the customer and me is really important. And I just put a lot of time in understanding how we can potentially improve on in the future. So whenever someone finishes the form, I want to make sure that I send an email to the customer service team just so that they can take a look at it, right? But because I'm also lazy, I don't want to keep sending manual emails. I have Zapier to do all the hard work for me. So this is very similarly to Drip. I want this workflow to be triggered whenever someone finish the form itself. Now I've chosen the app Typeform. The trigger event is new entry. There's actually no other option, so that is the only option you can go for. And let's go through this. You need your own account. Obviously this is my account. I'm gonna blur out the details. And then within your account, then you might have many different forms. Just choose the form that you're using for the negative feedback or constructive feedback, whatever you want to name it. And then you find data. Just make sure you submit just a dummy entry, and then Zapier can pick it up. Once you've done that, so this is the trigger, and I want to send an email in Gmail to my customer service team. So after this has happened, I am going to choose Gmail, and the action event, I want to send email. Of course, there's more things you can do, but for the purpose of this exercise, I am going to keep it simple. Now, choose your Gmail account, customize your email. So the email address you want to send to is essentially whatever the customer service email address is, service@gmail.com, whatever the customer service email is, could be your own, whatever that case is. Subject line, name it as you wish. And I usually put the first name and the email of the customer review of the customer, and I put the feedback there as well. And if it's something that you can take action, I usually prefer to take action immediately to build on that relationship. If they felt that strongly about something that you've done wrong, don't let it linger. I think the most important thing is take action immediately if it is reasonable. And that way it gives you a chance to build customer loyalty and the relationship with your customer. So I think that's personally really, really important. So I always leave some kind of contact details for my customer service team so then they can take action and get in touch with that customer. After that is done, just continue. The rest is really simple. They'll say, everything will become green and you just need to turn it on. And now everything is automated. It means that whenever someone purchases, after a certain amount of time that you have told the program, it will start sending them customer review emails. And for whoever who didn't leave a good review, they didn't have a good experience and they wanted to express that negative review and they filled in the form, you will essentially let your customer experience team know immediately and they can take action. So this is really, really good for essentially keeping all the negative reviews away, getting a ton of Google reviews, and also building a great relationship with your customer. So that's it. That's essentially it for the whole workflow. Now that you know how to keep those negative reviews away, thank you for watching this all the way to the end. Gently smash that like button if you haven't already, but don't do it too hard because we'll become millionaires, we'll never come back. And subscribe for more useful marketing content. But because you watched all the way to the end, I actually have a surprise for you, so please. This is how you turn lemons into lemonade. Better.